I didn't pay to upgrade it. It just seems to have come with it.
Oh, well, that works.
We're being dragged into 2009.
Well, whenever I click on the 1080p button, it goes, would you like to expand your subscription for another $120?
Maybe you said yes, please, and it's on my credit card, and we'll find out in a year.
Yeah, we'll find out.
That could be. Hey, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. This is FFIB with Jason and Tom, and we are joined tonight by the estimable Brian Brown, award-winning knife designer and knife maker, coming all the way from Mississippi, beautiful Mississippi. Hi, Brian.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Glad you could be here with us tonight. Thanks for joining.
Of course. Sorry, I had to change the date from last week.
That's all right.
It's okay. We used it as a tease, and we got people to watch just us, and now they're extra juiced up and ready to go this week.
Now they're really ready to see you.
I mean, yeah. Now they're ready.
Yeah.
I mean, Bacon Bits here. Hey, Bacon.
Yeah, Bacon Bits. There's one here. I'll have to go ahead and apologize to Chris because I'm in the shop and Wells is in the house.
Oh, he's here for the corgi.
Yeah, he's here for the corgi, but he is in the house with unless one of them went home. There's 5 girls up there plus my wife, so that's why I'm in the shop and not the house.
Smart play.
Absolutely.
Greg Bartram's here. What's up? Bill Booth is here. I bet Bill owns a few knives. If I know Bill owns a few.
I believe Bill is in my group. What's up, Bill?
Bill's got a good collection. Adam McCoy's here. Brian. Yeah, Brian, you're gonna need to add a Brian Brown to the collection. I recommend the Yeager. I just love the Yeager. I had a Raptor, but I love the Yeager more. There's something about this knife. It looks as good closed as open. It's got a beautiful, beautiful blade shape. It is extremely slicey. It's nice in the pocket. Perfect size, Brian. I think this knife is really something. I love it.
Flipper or flipperless. I like the flipperless one personally because it's just so sleek.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Non-flipper for me. Usually this is the one I kept out of the newest run with the Van X.
So you've done 3 versions of that knife, isn't that true?
I call them variations more necessarily than versions, but sure. I guess so it was the first one was with We, and there was only 150 of those run, and then not long after when I went to do the second run, we wanted a way higher quantity than what I was comfortable for flipper, non-flipper variations, and then like titanium, and then big micarta inlay. And so I did 150 piece run. This was 2019 to the end of it. And then wanted to do more. They wanted like 600. I wasn't comfortable. I wanted to do 300. And then this was like right when Riot was really taking off. And so I just was able to get in contact with the guy over there, and they told me, yeah, we'll run those. And they did their little tweaks on it. And, obviously the overall design is mine, but some of the little tweaks, like the flipper tab change from the V1 to the V2 was actually a Riot change, not something that I asked them to do, but it just made it better.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy that I can't remember myself, but I'm pretty positive that the V1s were a very mild hollow. But when I got the prototype of the V2, it was a flat grind, and I sent them a 3D CAD rendering of a hollow grind. I was like, please make sure these are hollow ground.
Right. And
I never got a second prototype. So I just kind of went off of them remembering and not actually seeing it because people were excited about it. I was about to run a pre-order, and I was a little nervous about, people still wanting to buy them. I was kind of in the what's that term for it? Like imposter syndrome, that I had all these people wanting to buy my stuff.
Right.
And
right.
So, I was like, run it. Just please make sure you do the hollow grind. And honestly, I think that's what has made these knives what they are, and why so many people loved them when they first came out, was the overall design when it actually got that satin hollow grind. Because We wasn't known for their satin finish back then. It was not good. And so the very first ones I did, they were all stone washed. You couldn't see the grind lines in them or anything. And so when these came out and they just get that real tall, this is not great light, but that real tall, deep hollow on these was, I think, what really made it. And
when those first dropped, I didn't know what that knife was, but I saw them fucking everywhere on Instagram, and I'm like, they were like blowing my mind. They were everywhere, and I didn't know what it was. I had to like look it up, figure out who you were, and track one of those down. They were like impossible to get when you first did your first V2s.
They was crazy because I only put maybe 100 for pre-order, just, you know, and most people know the reason why we do the pre-orders to help cover our costs and stuff. And so it was 100 or 150 I had up for pre-order. It might have been 150 because I did a certain set amount of each one and it was equal across them anyway.
Sure.
And it sold well, but it took, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 days, which that's still in this world of retail, that's fast selling something out.
Yes, it is.
Whatever it is. And so they sold out, but it took a few days because the hype wasn't there yet, I guess. And so when they showed up and people got them in hand, and obviously I ship all my pre-orders first. That's always my priority. And then I'll do the drop of whatever's left. And so by the time people got those in hand and started posting them, when that drop happened, it was just all hell broke loose for me. It was crazy. It really was. I still to this day can't believe it. And then a couple other V2 runs, and then, you know, the main thing really that I only changed on the V3s was the pivot. That was the biggest design change. There really wasn't anything else on there, but I still felt it needed to be distinguished, you know, from the other ones. There's still people that are, you know, V2 purists, I guess you could say, that were like, hey, when are you going to do more V2s? I want a V2, not a V3. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll do more.
Can't look back.
Yeah.
You know, Brian, I've handled probably a dozen of your customs, and I've played with, I don't know, 100 of your production knives. And one thing I'll say for sure is when I hand it to people and they try it for the first time and they don't know anything about you or who you are, they all really remark about the action of the knife. And I think what I've noticed about your knives, and I wonder what you think. Your detent lash is 0. There's no pre-action before the detent lets go. The knives are very, I guess you could call it stiff. I don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah, kind of.
There's a lot of momentary inertia when that thing lets go, and it makes for a different kind of flick than other knives. Is that deliberate?
I've always called it detent slop. That's just the term I use. Yeah. But yeah, this lash term has started popping up more, and I finally it took me a minute. On one time, this dude told me he had blade lash, and I was like, "What is that?" Like, I don't even know what that is. But so, you know, with the production stuff, I could only design it so far back then, and so, but as far as like on my customs, on all of them. You know, so this is a micro warthog, and even my customs are the same. There should be no give in that blade until it breaks, and that's actually one thing that I do focus on, because having that slop, and if you get some of my early customs, they're not perfect by any means. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what lock rock was. I didn't know what a lot of the stuff was. And I just started making folders and figured it out the hard way. And I had no formal, you know, teaching of anybody showing me anything. It was just me figuring it out off of YouTube videos and just asking other guys questions. And that only can take you so far. But the one thing that is real common, unfortunately, in the custom side especially, that gets lost is the mechanics. A lot of people focus too much on pretty materials or And sometimes even the design, just doing way too much with the design and making it unusable to where
Right.
it's just too much. And the Yeager always makes me laugh, whether we're talking about the customs or the productions or whatever. It's so simple of a design. And I think that's what really captured a lot of people with it. It's so utilitarian because it's essentially just a brick. It's got a little bit of contouring to it around the handle. Yeah, you've got so many straight edges on that thing, and then just, you know, a front choil for your finger, and then the back little dip for, you know, the rest of your fingers. And that's it. The rest of it's just the back of it follows the angle of the blade, and then the front is just kind of curved to follow the detent track and hide the detent track. And my Taka model for my fixed blades was always my most popular. And I was like, all right, that's going to be the second folder I design. That way I know what I'm doing more so than this. And so I wanted a Warncliffe at the time. And so that's where the Yeager came from, was my spare time at my full-time job during the slow season there. One January, I still have the sheet of paper I drew it on. And, you know, not ever doing this before, I decided to like write the date on it and like sign my name by it. Just, I don't know what made me want to do it, but I don't know, maybe I just had an intuition of this knife that was going to be something one day. And I mean,
you know, Brian,
that made me what I am.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That'd be a sweet takedown mat if you were to take that and print it on there.
It's terrible. It's so bad. Like, the only reason it was hand drawn was because I was at work. None of my other designs have ever really been hand drawn except for some very early fixed blades. And it's just because I didn't know how to use CAD. Once I learned how to use CAD, everything I do now, there is no sketching, anything. It's just straight to CAD with a mouse, and I'm clicking and drawing lines and curves, and just, I have an idea of not to jump topics, but my design stuff is, I basically, a lot of times I think of what kind of blade shape I want. Like, oh, I want to do like a lock bill. And then I'll draw the blade how I want it and make a handle that fits. And I just try to follow the lines of the blade when it's closed with the handle. And it's just, I'm real simple with it. I don't have any, you know, process like some of these guys do. I just think of a blade shape that I want to design a knife around and have at it.
How many, I mean, how many designs do you have now? Like, because there's the Yeager, but you have a bunch of other production knives, and I know you have a ton of other your custom knives
and stuff. You know, somebody asked me the other day when I was talking about one of a new production that Wee's going to have, and I'll show that in a minute. But he's like, how many productions and stuff do you have right now? And I'm like, I don't know. I'd really have to count. But I mean, between the customs right now, I'm actively making 5. It's the Yeager, the Warthog, with 2 different sizes of the Warthog, the 51, the Taka, Falke. Did I say Yeager already?
Yes,
I think so. And then I've started doing those. You know, plus then I've got the Trogon with Wee, the X1 with Civivi, the Dromus with Iconic, which nobody really probably in here even knows what that is. Maybe 1 or 2 people, but shout out to Bucky's for picking those up. That's pretty cool.
Oh wow!
So I have a knife in Bucky's, and that's
living.
I love
it. Doesn't
Bucky's.
get better than that.
Yeah, no, that's the best.
That's hilarious.
I just need since Civivi's gotten into Walmart, I just need to take the X1 and start selling some to each Walmart. And you know, but I think they're keeping that in house. So yeah, and then that doesn't even include like my fixed blade designs that I've done over the years, and then a couple There's maybe 2 folders that I've done, like the Dutchman, the little tiny one. These ended up going to Urban EDC as a exclusive.
Oh, cool.
I don't know, 18 months ago. And they did okay, but that was a little late for the tiny knife, like itty bitty knife trend. But yeah, I don't know. There's a solid maybe 20 designs over the years I've done now.
And you have the shirts that has all the models in the back, right? Are those your customs?
What, just the names?
Yeah.
No, it's not just customs because the Raptor's on there.
Okay.
That was, those people have seen those shirts like with TV shows and stuff. And that shirt is actually my wife's idea. She wanted that shirt with everything on it, but the selling point for her was it has to say the dog's name on it. So it says Sir Wellington on the very bottom. And I'm a little OCD with stuff. And so when I was doing all the different models, so it starts out with like the 51, which is just 5'1", and then the Taka, and then I think it's the Raptor, then the Yeager, then Sir Wellington. But I had to like have the words get longer, and it just didn't really fit without doing all of those. I was going to put a different one on there, but I was like, well, that one's not really as well known as obviously like the Raptor is and stuff. So since the Yeager was on there, I was like, it's all right, I'll put it on there. But it would be cool. I've thought about doing too was something similar, but with just the profiles of the knives down.
Yeah.
And just like all kind of like the active ones right now, I think would be pretty cool. I saw the comment you put up from was it
from
Josh?
Hey
Yeah, Good. He said Warclaw XL. So the one Warclaw that I've done was it's a big hawk bill based off of the Warthog handle, and so it's the same handle shape as this, modified to fit a hawk bill in there, but it wasn't a whole lot of modification, but it was mainly the stop pin track had to be tweaked because of that hawk bill closing too far. But I did one, and it was 8.5. It's like 8.5 inches overall. It's a big knife. So I don't know if I want to make a XL. I mean, that'd have to be a sword at that point.
Well, Josh, if you made a sword, that's the perfect person for a sword.
Yeah.
He keeps in his Spot XL in his socks. So Josh is not maybe the right demo for all knives, but he does like them bigger.
He likes them big boys.
Yep, no doubt. Looks like you have an Osprey as well that you didn't mention.
Oh yeah, actually,
Chris Davis remembers one you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't name the Osprey, but this was my fixed blades all started out mainly not started out, but towards the end, a lot of the fixed blades ended up with the same handle shape, which was originally the Taka. And then I did this one, which was originally called the Taka V. Then I had the Taka W, which was a Warncliffe version, basically a Yeager. And so I've since kind of changed the names around to make it less confusing. So this one got changed to the Osprey. And then Tactile, Mike Miller over there, and I have just kind of chatted back and forth just as, collectors and just kind of friends over the last few years. And he approached me last year and was like, hey, would you want to do a design with us? I'm like, absolutely.
That's awesome.
And so that's a little bit bigger than the customs I used to make. The customs were typically about this size, which this is the new Raptor Claw fixed blade I did. And so there we go.
Wow.
You can see the size difference. It's about an inch and a quarter overall longer. Yeah. I always liked more pocket friendly EDC sizes. I did have a couple fixed blades that were bigger. That doesn't go in there. But I think just my customer base, even early on, was more just guys being interested in more of a everyday style. And so, since we're on the topic of fixed blades, I'll kind of tease that I've got another U.S. fixed blade coming. That'll be from me, but it's going to be with Rec. So U.S. produced fixed blade. Prototype should be done soon. They had a little hiccup the last couple of weeks, I think, with a machine, but that's a little sprinkle in there for everybody watching that likes fixed blades. So I'm excited about it. It will be actually a tad bit smaller than what I used to do. So it is going to have like a sheath with a pocket clip on it. That way you can actually just kind of throw it in the front pocket. You don't need a sheath like what this one has, to where it's a belt carry only, just because of the size. And so, because honestly, like, I would carry a smaller one if it had like a clip on it. These, obviously I wanted one, but I hardly honestly ever carry it. I personally don't carry fixed blades that size.
I'm the same way. I don't carry fixies because I don't want to carry it on my belt. It makes me feel like I'm some sort of like fur trapper. That's not my jam. And then and then if I go in my pocket, I've got this giant Kydex sheath on it. That is bigger than my cell phone, and it just doesn't fit right. So you finding that sweet spot is interesting.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to get the sheaths for those. Still working on a source for them, but hopefully they'll be leather, because that's really what I want, because I want it to kind of be they're not going to have any crazy handle materials, but I still want it to be a little bit nicer. I don't want to say premium, it just sounds goofy, but just a little bit nicer step up of than just black G10 and a Kydex sheath.
Yeah.
So I think the first ones, or one of the, I think we might be doing 2 different handle colors, but they'll probably be rich light, because I always have loved the Blue Canyon rich light. And we did the Group Yeager V2. I think that was the second run of V2s, maybe 2022, that I did the Facebook group version in the blue rich light, which those still are around, and some people I still randomly see looking for them, and there was only 100 of them, and people tend to keep them. They don't like getting rid of them. They're hard to get.
I remember that run. You did maybe 4 or 5 different inlay colors, and they were available at different dealers, and some of them were through your club, and some of them you sold direct, and that was a monster order. That must have been a ton of knives.
That run was, I always get it backwards, because the Raptor run that same year, towards the end of the year, was, or actually no, it was the Raptor. Well, when they came in was the end of 2022. The pre-order was beginning of 22.
Right.
But anyway, both of those runs were 18 and 1900 pieces. And
that's amazing.
That was a busy day when they were all dropping on different websites. I was like checking out on one, and like, oh, I got to go order another. There's another drop today. I got to go order another knife.
Well, and that was, we didn't really know the best way to do it, because I kind of worked with the dealers trying to say, hey, how do y'all want to do this, because it was still a popular model. People wanted them, and the market was still really good for us as knife makers and knife designers. And so the best idea we could come up with was just, we'll drop them all at once, and just that way we're not selling too many from just me dropping them early, and then they're missing out being dealers, because we all had about the same amount, with the exception of he who we will not name these days, at one of those other groups that used to be pretty cool, but isn't.
You mean anymore. The crook that stole a bunch of money from you?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Should we name him, or are we not naming him?
Shout out to Lone Wolf on EDC Go No Go, and everybody knows that is a she, correct? I've heard it's a she.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, shout out to her for basically taking his group down to one person, which is him in his group, and that's it. So
she literally told everyone to quit one at a time until they all left.
We made a post, she made a post telling everybody to leave, and then just inactive people. I think she went through, and I'm pretty sure she was a moderator in there already, and went through and just removed everybody that didn't leave already.
She suffered a lot of backlash for that too. She stuck it out on purpose so that she could avenge your honor and make sure that old boy didn't get any love.
Well, and I didn't ask her to do it. I was very grateful of it, and it was really cool for me to see somebody like that who I really don't even know.
She's just wired that way. I'm telling you, it's in her blood. So that's who she is.
And last thing I'll say about it, I gave him the benefit of the doubt for a very long time before I blasted him. Yeah, if you will. I gave him 2 years, almost 18 months to try to make it right to even respond to me anymore. Yeah. Nope. So, I mean, if he ever wants to come back, I mean, he can't. Nobody would buy anything from him even before that. But yeah,
it's like Rick James said, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Cocaine and
something.
Too many of these.
Yeah, maybe so.
But back to the the Raptors and stuff. That was a monster drop too, and unfortunately there were a couple versions that didn't quite come out as good looking in person. That didn't really sell where all the other ones did, and so that's a little bit of a bummer on my end, just because I was like in my head. And I'm mainly talking about the Smoky Mountain Knife Works ones because they still have them, and they've dropped them down. Yeah, they still have it, probably 50 or 60.
Man, Brian, go over to Smoky Mountain and get yourself a knife. They've got them over there right now. He's trying to decide if you should get one.
If you want a Raptor, I know they've got some. The only thing I don't like about them is, so we decided to do black PVD frames and Zerk accents, but I blame myself for this. I didn't specify to re-out to make it polished Zerk.
Oh, okay.
Blasted Zerk, so it's like gray on black, and a lot of people like it. And
it's a black.
But I didn't care for it, and it was really nothing I could do about it. It was just kind of, it is what it is kind of thing. It's kind of a bummer. So they still have some of those available. Knife Center has like 1 or 2 random versions because they didn't really, I don't think, make many posts about them. But also the Vanex Yeager V3s, I still have a couple bronze flippers left, and then other than that, it's really just the non-flipper bronze that are left. All the other ones, they sold out quick. And
I'm on Smoky Mountain's website right now. You said they have Yeager. They have a version of the Yeager left.
They should have Raptors.
Oh, okay. They have a couple of Raptors.
It now, Tom.
Yeah,
I got it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you guys, go get these. $269. Jeez, what a deal! Look at that.
They've dropped the Finch down a little bit too. So that was I don't have one sitting here, but the Finch is a small. What is that, Brian Yellow Horse? What is that?
That's you now, buddy.
Apparently, well, at least they got it right on a couple of the other ones. But that is my take. Obviously, it's a Warncliffe. It's kind of the shape I've been known for, but it's a little small front flipper with about a deep carry clip as you could get. And I thought they were really cool, but I guess just because the size and just the front flipper, I wasn't ever big into front flippers. I still really am not, but I thought it was a cool design. Almost, I wanted a design where you could pretty much almost completely hide the blade into the frame, And really the best way to do that and still be able to deploy it is with the front flipper. I think Jason's lagging a little bit over there.
Oh yeah.
We need to get him off a dial-up. Need to up that connection speed, Jason.
I'm telling you.
He'll be here. He'll be back.
Oh, there he is. There he is. We got him. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's okay. So there is knives to be had out there of yours. So you said
sorry, go ahead.
You said there's a few at Knife Center. There's what they have at Smoky Mountain. Do you have anything on your own website right now?
Yeah, I've got the V3s on there and a handful of the X1s. So the X1s, I didn't do this with the Trogons just because they're just a lot higher price point, and it's hard for me just to go out there and, you know, buy a bunch at what they sell them to dealers for when I'm, you know, doing my own production, you know, straight from the factory. And so I never really did it. But with these X1s and everybody in here that's entered in the Billy giveaway, this is what I am donating. So this is it right here. So this is the X1, obviously something else based off the Yeager for Saviti. I've been buying these 40, 50 at a time and having them on my website before the Yeagers were here, just because I wanted something on there. Just random local people I meet. A guy I go to church with a couple of weeks ago was like, man, I tried buying something from you, but you never have anything on your website. It's always sold out. I was like, I know, I'm trying to do stuff to, you know, obviously my thing has always been price point. I think we talked about this last time we did the video, is I want stuff that's, you know, not cheap, but, you know, budget friendly, you know, $50, $60 knives. And that's where the Savivis are now taking that spot, all the way up to, you know, my full customs, which I've had $7,000 and $8,000 custom auctions, which just the spread just blows me away. And so being able to have something like that on the website is awesome, because somebody randomly that you meet that says they're into knives, a lot of times they're into, you know, sub $100 stuff.
That's by far the majority of people. Like,
yeah.
We get so detuned in our world on Facebook about like $100 knife being a cheap knife. For most people, that's like extravagant. Triple digits for a knife.
Yeah, and that was me whenever I was even making fixed blades. Like, I struggled to justify spending, like, what was it? It was the Rexford design, the ZT 0808. And it was, gosh, I don't know, $200, $250 when I bought it. I think it was on sale when I bought it too. And, you know, now I look at that, like, most of what I sell being the productions, they're all $100 more than that, at least. And so, you know, and like I said, I get it. I understand that's not normal. And so being able for me to be like, hey, I've got these, you know, here's a card, or just go to my website, and they look and like, okay, there's something that I could probably afford on there, versus for a long time, it would be like $350, $400 knife. And they're like, yeah, that's cool, but not for me.
Yeah.
And so I've seen, you know, a couple random guys. There's a guy that was here the other day that has the local window tinting and glass repair and stuff. And I've known him for a few years just from my old job. And then found out he owned this. And anyway, we talk randomly now, and he ended up getting on the website when I put some of the X1s on there and bought it. He's not going to buy a Yeager, But he's like, I bought it. He's like, dude, I carry this thing every day. I love it. And it's, he wants something more expensive now. And that was the whole idea for starting out with the Yeager, was trying to get people excited about customs and getting people into my customs, and I don't know how many people who knows what the number is, but there's been a handful of people that have been like, I found about you because of the Yeager and started buying and trying to find your customs just because I found your production stuff.
That's what I was curious about, because my experience, my introduction to the popularity of your customs was at Blade Show. I don't know, was it 2 or 3 years ago when you were in the small room?
Probably 21.
Yeah, probably 21. Me and Jason lined up. We got there like, it's fine. We'll go to Brian Brown's table, and we were like not near the front of the line, and we got to witness like a fight, a brawl, trying to go after your customs. Like, oh, these are more popular than I think we realized at that.
They were more popular at that time than I realized, because that was my first show. My first show was supposed to be 2020, but obviously, that didn't happen. And so, my very first show was Blade Show 21, and the Yeager V2s had been out already, but obviously I'd been doing the customs, way before I did the production stuff. And so I knew I had an okay following, because I never really struggled to sell anything. If I posted something for sale, somebody's going to pick it up. But I didn't realize, even when I listed, like 30, it was like 35 or 40 deposits for customs, like early 2020. And they sold out pretty quick. And that was online though, but I never guessed the bum rush that I would get, people fighting over stuff. And it was almost to the point of like, if I ever do first come first serve stuff again, I'm putting a picture of the knife on the table, and you can grab the picture. It was crazy. I didn't expect it. I knew there was one guy in line for me.
Oh, really?
He messaged me, and one of the takas that I made with the full like Zircotai show side, and a Damascus. It was a Norris Hornet's Nest blade. He had just messaged me like, hey, I'm waiting overnight for that knife. He's the only person. He was number one in line too.
Oh, okay, good. So he got it?
And so, oh yeah, he got it.
Okay.
Thankfully, nobody shoved him down or tripped him or anything, but he got it. But that was the only person that I knew that was actually in line for me. But when it turned out, it was even more people than that. And it was, it was just so humbling to see, because I was not expecting it at all.
All right, me and Jason were standing in line, and you go up and down the line and talk to people about what they're after. And we were like, well, shit, I don't think we're going to have anything to do with Brian Brown, because there's a lot of people that are in line for this. It was cool to see, for sure.
I do need to shout out to P. Brian real quick, because he just ordered a knife.
Oh, nice.
On the website. Awesome. I saw the comment, and then right when I saw the comment, my phone lit up from Shopify. So thank you, Brian. I will ship that out ASAP on Monday for you.
What did he get?
He bought I hope he's okay with me telling everybody. He got a bronze anno non-flipper.
Oh, beautiful.
It's kind of funny that his name is kind of backwards of mine, because my name is Brian Patrick, and he's Patrick Brian.
Oh yeah,
perfect. It's meant to be. So thank you, P. Brian, for buying a knife from me.
Again,
we're gonna try this again.
I'm back. Wes Newman didn't pay my internet bill.
That guy just keeps getting everybody.
I'm telling you.
Asshole. But yeah, so it's going. You know, what about y'all? How's the Billy group? Talk about y'all a little bit. I'm sorry I don't participate in there as much as I used to.
The Millie group is going good. Me and Jason have spurts of inspiration and excitement around it, like anything else. Like sometimes I'm not feeling it. Sometimes I'm deep in it. But I try to post every single day, at least once. I like to keep the group just churning and people engaged. And my biggest goal is just to keep people, like, I want to take people from all the knife groups and like steal them. It's like, this is your home. I want everyone to say, this is like, when you open up Facebook, the first thing you click on is the Millie Club, is like my goal. So that's why we're very accepting of, you can post any knife you want. You can post stuff that has nothing to do with knives. You can just talk about how your daughter graduated from college and you're excited to celebrate, like whatever. So
no, I think it's awesome too.
That culture has become self-sustaining now at this point, where I don't have to remind people, and I don't have to be the one that posts stuff that's off topic to remind people that it's okay. So I think it's doing really well in that aspect. Something in the Facebook algorithm a while ago slowed down, where we're not growing anymore. We got to 19.3 thousand and it's kind of been stuck there. Like, we get a few requests a day. We ban a couple people every once in a while. A couple people leave. So it kind of stays around there.
I know how that is.
But it's at a great size. It's a great community. It's crazy when I run the monthly report of the contributor report. Like, usually the top contributors are all between like Alan Yee's usually like 2,000 comments a month, to the top 10 is like still like 600 or 700 comments a month. It's people really do enjoy being in the group, and it makes me really proud of what we've created. Today,
it's awesome.
Today is obviously the 6th year anniversary. So I still remember Jason messaging me. I know exactly where I was standing. I was standing in a construction site that I was building for a store called Muji. And Jason messaged me like, hey, do you want to set up a PM2 Pair 3 military Facebook group? And I was like, why not? Because we were sick of getting shit on in the main Spyderco groups for posting too many PM2s in one picture, or like showing off our collections.
The other knife cultures just had a lot of negativity around them. It was the same thing you observe in the gun community. It was a lot of assholes. We got sick. We make a group where you're not allowed to be a dick, and then you're allowed to just celebrate the knives that you own, and you're not allowed to be a hater, and we'll just talk knives. It wasn't that hard of a concept, but no one had made it work. And I would say that as we're in year 6, it's never been easier to moderate. We used to get in huge fights with people, and we get in huge fights with, maintaining the culture. And now the group maintains the culture. The guys that are the OGs will go into a chat and go, this is cool, you can't talk like that. And we don't have to do it as much. So it's never been easier to run it. The excitement and the interest has been hard. Tom and I are excited about some things we're working on in the background. We have somebody that we're partnering with to bring a merchandise store. Finally, it's something we wanted to do for a long time.
That's cool.
The problem we have is some hobbyists out there that make something, they have a very hard time keeping up with the demand. And we've had several times where we've let hobbyists run with something and they've either flamed out or flaked out, or they've stolen a bunch of money. And more than once, Tom and I have come out of pocket, and or I want somewhere someone can go and with one click they can buy something. We finally have to can do that. So I'm excited. We're long overdue.
Well, y'all's group was always, kind of what I wanted my group to be. And thankfully, I think my group has kind of turned into that too. It's real easygoing. There's never, or just rarely, any drama. I've got a lot of guys in there who are consistent and help, even without them being admins or moderators, they're just kind of help keep it level, really.
Yep.
And,
is your Yeti not working, Jason?
No, I'm using AirPods.
Oh, okay.
And it won't recognize it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
But
Look,
Brian, you know, it's just a matter of like maintaining your expectations, and then I notice other groups will sometimes they'll go, well, I have a rule about it, then I'm not allowed to institute it, and they believe like if it's not written down, then I can't do it. And Tom and I are always like, arbiters of what goes. We look at this as like a benevolent dictatorship. If I decide that you're out of line, then that's all I need. I don't have to ask Congress. I can just make the decision, and you're not a part of it anymore. My attitude is there's 10,000 other knife groups out there. If you're not right for this one, then go find a different one. It's okay. No hard feelings.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't have to put up with your crap.
That was one thing I had a hard time doing in the beginning was like if anybody like stirred up anything, I was just kind of like, give them a second chance. You know, I need customers. I need to sell stuff. I need these people around. And as I've gotten just not more success or anything, just, you know, more mature and learning that it's like, all right, that one guy, even if I'm not selling at the rate I used to or am now, I don't need people like that around me. I don't need people like that in my group. And there's a handful of people that when there was, I'm sure y'all ran into the old Daniel Lee at one point, and he joined the group, and I had been warned about him. And I had a couple conversations with him right when he joined the group, and he just seemed to be a real, just nice, easygoing guy. But apparently, it started drama in all these other groups, and there was probably 10 or 15 people that when he joined, they left my group because he was in there, and we didn't like boot him immediately. And he was in there for maybe 6 to 8 months before he finally just did something and just pissed me off. And like I gave him a second chance on something, and then he did something else again, like calling people names or something, and just, you know, just offhand like called some dude a Bible thumper or something like that. And, you know, it wasn't anything that bad, but it's just the fact of him doing it. And I was like, you know what? I warned you. I was like, you're gone. And immediately I had those like 10 or 15 people like that day found out that he was booted. They all joined the group right back. And it's wild with one person, you know, that saying about, you know, the one bad apple. And it's sad but true. And so, but you know, back to the point of y'all's group, I never see any issue in Millie group, the little bit that I do look in there these days. And honestly, it's not just it's just any group. I don't avoid social media, but it's just if I'm on there, I need to be working on my stuff, and otherwise I just get caught doom scrolling like everybody else does these days on Instagram or something.
That's the biggest change, though, that mentally, emotionally, like professionally, as a person, the group running this has grown me up, my confidence level. Like in the beginning, the idea of banning somebody and like the confrontation that comes with that and all the shit.
Yeah.
And
I'm with you 100%. I was the same one.
I'm a different person now. Like cutting the cancer out of a group is the most important part. Like there was a time when no fuck CDC was a thing in my group, and everyone was writing no fuck on their knives. And it was just like, when they all left, it was like, at the time I didn't want to kick them out or anything, but like they all decided to leave. And then it made me realize like less is more sometimes. Like having them not in the group is more. The group is better now without them.
Yeah.
So they didn't get to come back when they all decided that their world that they had outside of their group, they thought they could make a better universe than we had, fell apart. And there's like, no, you guys were not positive energy for the group.
Yeah. And there's been a few people, you know, that really were just a drain on the community. And, you know, those guys always get weeded out. They don't last long at all. And having especially that EDC Go No-Go group is one of the best groups out there for us, because when you join my group, if you go and you don't answer the questions, you don't get in, we'll at least send you a message back saying, please answer the questions. And then But we'll go, and if you answer all the questions and it's like a new account or something like that, doesn't automatically let you in, and we'll any pending ones that aren't auto, which actually I think I've turned all the auto approvals off now, but we go and pretty much almost all of me and the main two admins, Alf and Turs, that help me out, we go and put them into EDC go no go, and immediately if their name's on there, they don't even get in. And about one person a week tends to still kind of sneak in somehow. That's one of these, just scammers or just an annoying, horrible person that ends up on their list. And so a lot of people in here, I'm sure, are familiar with Ian Craven. Ian, basically, I swear, he went through that list and like typed in every single person's name and like blocked all of them, because every week that somebody's in there that should be, it's always Ian sending me a screenshot of seeing who's blocked that he can't see when I do my weekly, hey, welcome to the group. That's been one of the best things I ever did, was that auto welcome to the group post, because then it tags every single person who has joined the group for the last week. And if they're blocked, he's like, yep, that person's blocked, that person's blocked, those are scammers or whatever they are. He sends me a screenshot, says, hey, kick them out. And a lot of times they've already left or somebody else told one of the admins about them. And so that's another thing that really blows me away, is how having admins take a lot off of you as like running a group, especially with me being, my full business, is that Turs and Alf will tell me, oh yeah, these guys asked about this or that, or they told me about this. They don't automatically come to me all the time, which is kind of weird, because I'm still, a sole employee deal over here. And so everything falls on me, and I'm used to it. It's just what it is. But when they tell me like, oh yeah, they asked me about it, we took care of it, I'm just like, cool. It's one of those things.
Yeah, we have I think 7 moderators or something like that, 7-ish moderators.
Yeah.
And for a long time, we only would have a few moderators, and we kind of grew more. We've had some bad moderators. We've had we've had people who were pretending to be different people. But now we've got to a crew of guys now. The last time me and Jason hired on moderators, we brought 4 moderators on the same day. We interviewed them on video. We made them take like a fucking blood oath that they were legitimate, good people, members of the group. And since then, I think we added Ryan Wade since then. But I love the guys we have. They know the culture. They enforce it. They can answer questions. If they have anything that they feel is over their head, they just bring it to me and Jason in our group chat. But they handle their shit. They know what the group's supposed to run like. And it makes it immensely helpful that I am checking the group all day, every day. But even if you're literally on Facebook like 8 hours a day like I am, I won't see everything, because we get between 120 and 180 posts in the group a day. And
golly.
The way the algorithm runs is I will not see everything. Even if I scroll forever, it won't feed it to you, because sometimes Facebook doesn't want you to see stuff. So having a good monitor staff is important. Yeah, 180 to 120 posts every single day.
Yeah. Matt B's right. There's some genuine people left who desire just to be helpful and care and stuff. And I don't know, Matt. I wouldn't say few and far between. There's so many guys in my Facebook group that are they're not even moderators or anything, and they're just awesome people. And it seems to be more prevalent with awesome people percentage wise on the custom side, just because it's smaller and it's a lot higher dollar value, I guess. Because I saw a comment earlier, I don't remember who it was from, talking about they left Reddit. And Reddit's a bunch of production stuff. And it's a cesspool of just assholes. And YouTube, I think, is getting better, but YouTube was always like that. It's just assholes wanting to comment just to comment, whether they want to see your stuff or not. It popped up for them, so they want to comment something mean. And so I was always kind of weary of really getting a YouTube page going because of that. Just I'd like to read and respond to all the comments, and my Instagram is pretty solid. Very rare do I get some dickish comment anymore. Early on, it was kind of regular, especially when I really started doing production stuff, because God forbid I use the best production company for knives in the world, who just happens to be in China, you know. And I tell people all the time stuff like that. It's like, you can scoff at where they're made, but it's the best place in the world to have them made. But you know, that's a whole other story. But you know, it's with the custom side. I don't know. It's weird how varying it is. I guess it's just because it's a smaller percentage of people that can and want to afford them. You know, there's plenty of people out there that are in your group that could more than afford a custom or multiple customs from me or any of these other guys in the industry. But they probably just choose to not spend that much on one. And then I've seen it the other way around. There's the guys that just had tons of productions and then got one custom and then sold all their productions and just went only into customs. And I kind of did that. I had a decent amount of production stuff and then decided, you know, especially when I really started making them, that I wanted to buy more. So once I started having, you know, what I like to call, you know, real money, where I actually had more money than just bills, enough money to pay my bills. Once the business started, you know, taking off and I wasn't working for somebody else, and I actually had, you know, some play money to actually buy something that I wanted, I started buying custom knives. Well, now it's kind of turned back to, I just enjoy my stuff, honestly, anymore. I still get some random stuff here and there, productions or a custom, but like I just did a trade with Nick Marshall and got one of his custom integral Ren models, and I love it. I don't carry it a ton, but I love the knife and I like Nick. And that's how the world becomes with the custom stuff too. It's a lot more personable, because nobody hardly knows personally knows anybody at Benchmade or the guy that owns Benchmade, but everybody that owns a custom knife from Brian Brown probably even knows what I look like these days, just with social media and me trying to do videos like this and stuff and going to shows, and they have a name to the face, and it just makes it more personable. And I think that helps a lot to, you know, thin out that. Not, but I mean, heck, you go to a show, even like CCKS or Friday Night Blade Affair, which is Friday Night Blade Affair is only top tier makers, and you have to be invited, and there's no production anything there.
Yeah.
And you run into assholes in that venue too, but they're just thankfully a lot less. And I saw Chris comment, asked what I was drinking. It's actually something brand new from Mississippi. It's called Old Soul. We have it's called Cathead Distillery here. I think mainly they do vodka, but they just released this whiskey last week, and a buddy of mine went and picked me up a bottle. It's pretty good. $40 bottle. I'd buy it again.
Hey, Jason, you're on mute.
He muted himself. Nope. No. Or your AirPod died.
Woo. Yeah, I went to the Friday Night Blade Affair at CCKS in 2021, and like, I am used to being semi-recognized when I go to knife shows and stuff, and like, people didn't know who the fuck I was. There was like some big dollar items there. Like guys fighting over $30,000 bids for like an RJ Martin knife or these crazy things. Yeah,
the custom Shiros and Michael Raymond, Rexford, you know, seeing those guys and you know, those that's, you know, my inspiration is, you know, I don't aspire to be like Benchmade and have this big production facility, or hell, even like Bill Koenig, you know, and the amount of stuff he does on his own in his own shop. I still like the one at a time, or at least, you know, small batch customs, even though everybody knows now I've got the Haas, but it's still a lot of handwork. It just, that does the monkey work for me, and then is doing stuff that I couldn't do before with, you know, crazy milling patterns and intricate inlays and you know, stuff like these windows. You know, I couldn't really do that before, and like all the windows on the Warthogs before were all water jet and then cleaned up by hand, but now I can do it all in house. And so that's, you know, going to Friday Night Blade Affair and seeing those guys and just, you know, that's like my next tier for me, is still trying to do the production stuff like I'm doing to keep it consistent. But, you know, I think we had talked about this before. My day-to-day life is still being in the shop. If I'm not in the shop, I could be up in the office or in the house quality controlling 250 Yeagers, and I don't feel like it's work until like I'm in, like, I still don't say it's work when I'm in the shop, but it's still like my normal day to day. It's like, all right, I'm not in the shop making knives. It's weird. Like, I need to be in the shop making knives. Why am I not making knives? But then I really have to get away from that. And I don't know why my brain just will not let me just, you know, mesh it all together and realize that, you know, it's all work. It's all business. And if I'm sitting around like I have to do tomorrow because I'm going to be late, actually, I think I got 20 till the 21st because it's on a Monday. I haven't done my sales tax for this month for the state of Mississippi because I absolutely do not want to do it. But I've got to get it done.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like, that's still work, but I hate that work. I want to be in the shop with the machine running, making cool shit, you know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good.
Yay. So Brian, are you coming to Lexington in December?
Absolutely. And as of last Monday, maybe Monday, I think I posted in my group yesterday. Anyway, I will be exhibiting.
Oh, good.
Albeit I have to share a table with Ed, but that's okay. That was honestly the only way I have been able to squeeze my toe into that show, because nobody leaves that show. And
I've noticed. I've been going for 4 years, and it's the same crew all the time.
All the same makers, and the only reason they're not there is usually because of a family conflict of, you know, a date for a family event or something.
Right.
Or a catastrophic event that they don't show up. And I think the way they also run is, if you've been there before and like say, oh, I missed 2022, I want to come back in 2023, you're at the top of the list for coming back because you've already been, just because you accidentally missed a year. And so it's been really hard for me to try to get in there, and not trying to say I'm extra special or anything, but I just figured I would have been able to get in a lot easier than I had. And I don't say that being cocky. It's just that show is one of my favorites. It's easygoing. I love that part of the country. My wife and I, the last couple of years, have gone together. We went and drove up to Gatlinburg, spent 2 nights there, and then Went to the show. We're doing the same thing again this year, so it's almost like a little vacation for my wife and I too.
Yeah.
And so I'm going regardless, but this year I at least get to make a little money while I'm there, which is always good.
I always look forward to it. I get to hang out with my friends. Kenyon Ventus lives in Cincinnati, which is at the top of the road, and then Casey Hedges is in Louisville, and he's in Lexington. He's right there in town, so it's his hometown show. We always get to hang out, and a friend of mine, Dan Hawkins, is flying in from Idaho.
Oh yeah, I met Dan this year in New Orleans. I like Dan a lot.
You'd know Dan by now. He's coming, and he said, I want to do bourbon tours. I said, that's the best part. So
yeah,
we'll go hit some distilleries on Saturday. And,
we've still yet to be able to do a Buffalo Trace tour. It just has not worked out yet.
Yeah.
But at least doing their tasting, and they give you like some backstory and stuff. It's really cool.
The tasting is free and it's worth it. And
absolutely.
Same way with the tour. I've never done an actual tour, but man, it's still worth going. It's such a destination.
It is, and like I said, I like that part of the country, and just talking about seeing people there. I don't spend a whole lot of time like hanging out with him, but I usually try to talk to him in the show with Kenyon. And now that he's started making knives too, what's kind of cool is he commented in the on the post I made the other day about, I guess I'm not going to bump into you in line this year. I'll have to bump into you at the table. But we always, try to talk for a minute and stuff. But the last maybe 2 years now since he started making knives, maybe last year was the first year, and maybe it was like blade showing, but I'm pretty sure anyway. But I told him, I said, hey, make sure you bring me something new to check out, because I like what he's doing. I'm in his group, his Facebook group. He's making really cool stuff. I like his designs.
He actually made one for me, Brian. It's left-handed too.
You weird-handed people.
I keep meeting all these knife makers that just don't know how to do lefty, and then along comes the new kid, and he can make a left-handed knife. He said it wasn't even hard.
Yeah, I just have vowed to never do it. I've never done it. I don't know why. I don't want to do it. It's just backwards. A lot of guys have. They've done a couple.
He even figured out how to put a front flipper in it. Didn't know that until recently. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's the model I like, is that one.
Yeah. I'm just happy that my friend decided to pursue his dream, and he made a badass knife. And I don't know. I'm biased. If it was a turd, I still would have bought it, but I love it. It's a beautiful knife.
I've got some customers like that. Chris is in here. He's one of them. I could make a turd. Chris would buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
We got to support our friends when they chase their dreams. Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. So is he doing it full time?
He had to take a full-time gig because his old employer came back to him and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. So he's still, I think he realized that he hadn't quite found that balance yet. Yeah. So he went from full-time work to full-time knife, and he needs to be somewhere in the middle until he gets bigger. Yeah. So I did the same thing. So my full-time job, I really had no potential to really go anywhere. How much is the turd? I could probably find something here. Yeah, there's something about bad heat treat or ground wrong. Always. But I just lost my train. What were we talking about? I just went blank. Balance between work and knife. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I was working full time at a motorcycle shop selling parts. It was fully 100% commission. I'd been in retail with other stuff for like 10 years at the point, to where I was just like, I'm sick and tired of this. I can't go anywhere. I might be the parts manager one day and might, make an okay living. But I was like, I can't go anywhere. And I was trying to get other jobs, other places. And they just, for whatever reason, they never panned out. Like, I even tried driving for Cintas and they wouldn't hire me. And just trying to get in with a company where I could at least start at the bottom in my, late 20s, early 30s and try to move up. And so
I was, doing the knife stuff part-time, and it was going okay. People were buying what I was making, but I never saw it as a full-time gig. And so guy we went to church with, we were talking, and had said something about he had just moved here from a town about an hour away with an electrical company, and they were wanting to expand and needed help, just part-time help though. And so it kind of was like, maybe there's my sign to quit, and he needs help. And I had experience doing home theater stuff at Best Buy, so I could be a gopher and I can know how to run wires, and I'm not an electrician. He's got to do all that stuff, but I can at least be a grunt when he needs me. That lasted about 6 months of just random part-time helping him when he needed, before I could not afford to not be at home making knives. And this was even before the production stuff had started. And so I had to be like, that was May to like November. And I was like, dude, can't do it anymore. And what really put me over the edge was a job changing out those UFO lights in the warehouses in a industrial -5-degree freezer. Yeah. So after that job, I quit. I was like, yeah, I'm done. It's like, I might not pay my bills for a month or two, but yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. But yeah, and so, I back to talking about Kenyon was, I was there. I was that guy before, and it's kind of like I've been doing this full time 6 years now. And so like I've been in it for a minute, and it's kind of like, all right, who's the next group of new makers that are going to be coming behind me? Because like I'm in like the middle age, and then you have like the older guys. I'm not the new guy anymore. And it's a little weird because I felt like I was like the new guys for a long time. And so like, it was like me, Kurt American, Corbin, HMC. We all started really about the same time, at least with folders. And I'd been doing fixed blades, and Jim had been doing fixed blades for a while. And then we all kind of started the same way, started about the same amount of time. We gained our popularity in the custom world and just the knife world in general about the same amount of time. And it's like, all right, here was this group. And it's like, all right, now, like, all right, who's the next group that's coming? I think he's part of it. And like I said, I really like what he's doing. And then like Jake McCoy, he's another one who's doing cool stuff. Gumbiner, a lot of people started seeing Gumbiner stuff. Lucas, he won an award for a chef knife last year at Blade Show. That's an incredibly hard category to compete in.
Yeah.
So, I'm blessed to have won Best Tactical, and that was I think that was 2021. That was like my first show that I got that award. And, Hinder is somebody that's won that award before. There's a lot of big name tactical knife makers and companies that have won that award. And so it wasn't a huge category though. There's not just 40, 30 guys entering that category. It's like 15, 20 maybe. And so
maybe so, Brian, but that is not an easy thing to win. You're selling yourself short a little bit. That's a
tremendous. I know, but I'm trying to upsell him though, because he was able to win that in the chef category.
I agree. Credit to that. You really knocked it out with that one. That was amazing.
And it's still I still take that award with me to shows, because I still feel like people that don't know me, if they at least see something on my table that I've been recognized for and won an award for. And it's, as my kids are getting older, it's kind of weird that, and my wife going to shows with me more, that that she really enjoys going now, and because she knows people now, and she likes to tell the kids how famous I am and how all these people know who Daddy is and all this,
Right.
and they're getting old enough to where they kind of realize that, you know, I'm not a celebrity, but they're like, there's a lot of people that know our dad, and it's like, you come home with like an award from somewhere, and then like this magazine shows up at the house and you can find a picture of your knife in the magazine. Like they're starting to get old enough to where they're putting it together. And I think it's cool for them to see, but it's even cooler for me because, you know, I think that's part of, you know, doing what we do. But then, you know, part of just having kids too is you kind of get to hand something down if they want it. And, you know, but then you just, you know, I share my success with my kids all day, and, you know, I'd be the happiest person in the world if those were the only people that knew it. You know,
Brian, you're an award-winning knife maker and knife designer, but have you had 1,000 pictures of yourself sent to knife customers secretly, only to find people post pictures of you on your Facebook group?
No, but my face has ended up on T-shirts and a fanny pack.
That's pretty good. I like it.
I was not privy to until the fanny pack shows up at he gave it to me. And I don't know if anybody in here knows what I'm talking about, but I did an Instagram reel where I had these magnifiers on, and it was like when the trend was like what I see versus what this sees or whatever. And so I was like, what I see during final knife inspection, and it's like a up close of a knife, and then it's like what the knife sees, and it's me wearing these stupid glasses. My eyes are real big.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah,
I remember that one.
They screenshot it, and Turs ends up taking it. He has a shirt with it on it, real big. He wore it to Blade Show, and then made a custom fanny pack for me that is literally just like about the same size as your stickers, but it's my face on there like 150 times all around it. And so it's funny when I wear it in shows that people don't know who I am, and they just don't know I'm kind of corny like that, and I think that's just funny. And then they look at like, is that your face on your fanny pack? Like, what? Who does? I'm like, it's a thing. Don't just don't worry about it.
Times, listen, I'm a knife famous person.
Yeah.
I'm knife famous.
I'm Brian Brown, if you didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jeff Loffer had those little stickers made, and we didn't know they were going out until literally 1,000 coins got shipped out to people. And I didn't know how people were going to react about, like, why do you guys put your stupid faces in there? But people got a kick out of it.
They loved it.
It was a riot.
That's so funny.
Well, the next thing that happened was people were posing them for strange and unusual photo shoots. And let me pull one up here. We saw stuff like this.
That's amazing. It's like googly eyes, but it's Jason and Tom.
Right. And then my favorite was when people were doing this, you know, that's Pulp Fiction action.
That's amazing.
It was pretty good. Terrence and Phillip might have been the best one, though.
All right, well, somebody does that with me and Wells, I wouldn't be mad.
Right. No, it was pretty funny.
That's really funny.
Well, Brian, this has been a little bit different than our last show, and unfortunately, no one can go see our last show that we did. So,
yeah.
So I'm glad you came.
Nobody got drunk
back on your own. It makes me happy.
Nobody got drunk this time.
Not yet.
Well, not yet.
I might have downloaded it. It might be in my laptop somewhere, dragging down the speed on the.
That's probably what's wrong with your internet. Is that 2.5 hour long video of just complete fuckery.
I wonder if he's making Pruno right now in his cell.
Fudge pudding.
Something. He'll be missed.
Yeah. Speaking of knife shows and that guy, the last year he was at Blade Show, I guess it was 22.
I was with him the whole time.
Brian, I'm the one that caught him.
Oh, were you?
You know that?
When he was stealing?
I was 6 feet from him when he leaned over the table, and I thought it was strange that he was so close and so drunk to people he didn't know.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, the guy jumped up and he's like, "Where's my knife?" And I just said, I knew it was him. So yeah, we called the police that were in the building to make sure we were not stabbing each other, and the cop went and searched him and found it.
That same year before that happened, and y'all might have actually, I think Tom might have been with him. Jason, maybe
I was
not.
with him when he fell on your table.
That's what I was about to say. He comes stumbling through, tries to be funny, and says something like, hits my, almost knocks all of my stuff off the table because he was just, and I'm like, dude, like, what's your problem? You know, stop.
Vodka.
Yeah. And so, Orange was it Kip or Kit? It was Kit.
We're talking about Kit O'Connell.
Christopher Kit O'Connell.
Who liked to drink so much he ended up playing with a pistol, I think it was, in his apartment.
No, it was worse than that. He was shaking people down over a drug deal.
So what the news said anyway, from what I had read, one article anyway, but I don't know, ends up shooting a little girl through a wall in an apartment. Yeah. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And it's like, I can't believe I associated myself with a guy like that. But silver lining is he introduced me to you fine gentlemen. He is the reason that I met you two.
Well, you know, Brian,
he really is.
That show went so badly at the end of it. You stayed on the line and you offered us a couple of Yeagers that had been returned. You were like, I don't know if you guys want one. We're like, yeah.
Oh, did I? I don't remember that part. I remember hanging out and y'all basically ended up, we were in the green room after we had stopped the show. And we were, just chatting amongst ourselves. And then finally you two, because I was just like, I never really had seen the show before. And I'm like, I don't think this dude should be acting like this normally. But I was just like,
he took the phone with him. He peed while he was on his phone.
Yeah.
While he's talking to us.
Yeah. And so finally y'all just kicked him. And
we took his camera off the screen.
I was like, what was that? I was like, they were like, then y'all were just so apologetic to me. And I was like, it didn't really bother me any, because I'll be talking with my buddy Ed, who, a lot of people in here, but other than Chris, I don't know how many people in here are this involved in my knife group that are watching this right now. But Edward R. Knives, Ed Ratman, is my knife wife. We're best friends in life now. We were best friends in the community for a while. He was one of the very first people I met at Blade Show who already followed me when I met him. Because I would meet people and be like, oh yeah, Brian, I make knives. He was hanging out with Ecom Knives. And he was like, oh, I follow you. I know who you are. And so anyway, Ed being my knife wife, and we talk for an hour at a time whenever we call each other. And you're gonna have to pee eventually. And so we'll just be talking on the phone, and then all of a sudden you just hear him peeing in the background. And so when Kit did that, I was like, the video's on. It's kind of weird, but I was like, whatever. Maybe Tom and Jason have a weird group. I don't know, but come to find out, that was not the case. But this is a lot more tame than
a little bit different. No
comedic relief from him.
I've got an Ed patcher on here somewhere and I can't find it. Yeah, I love his knives. I love him. He's a great guy. Whenever he's cars.
What do you have from him?
I just have a patch. I can't.
A patch. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, was it the Guns N' Roses one?
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah. I like what he did last year with his. I think it was or was it early beginning of this year for his shirts? It was the Guns N' Roses logo with Edward R. Knives on it. And then the back of it was all his show dates as like tour dates.
Oh, sweet.
That was a pretty cool. He sent me one when he did on. That was a pretty cool shirt. I was like, I like that idea. He's a big like band, like he loves stuff like that, like Guns N' Roses, like 80s rock and stuff. And I'd never really been into that stuff. I was like, dude, that fits you perfect.
Well, he's a pretty avid guitar player. He collects really. Really high guitars.
He bought. Gosh, I can't even remember what it's called. He bought a super nice one during the Nashville show. I think it was 2022.
Right.
He had been saving up and found what he wanted at a decent price, and was like, "Hey, can you hold it? I'll be up there this date." And I don't think he plays as much as he wants to. It's nobody ever does, you know. And so, but he's one of those guys that, like I said, he's my best friend in the knife world and just one of my best friends in life now. We literally talk every day about whatever. And so it's just one of those things that you know, with shows and everything, we getting to meet all these people face to face, and especially when I see like you two at shows, you know, it's, hey, there's Tom and Jason. Got to go talk to Tom and Jason. Got to make time for them.
It's weird, Brian. I don't know that I've been to a show yet where I haven't seen you, run into you. Usually it's Thursday. We run into each other. Yeah. It's funny. There's other people that I intend to see that I don't, and I will always run into you Thursday.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I think I'm one of the few makers who goes to a lot of shows, whether I'm exhibiting or not.
Yes, you hang out.
I know, like early on when I couldn't, not couldn't, but didn't have the confidence to want to like try to go to a show, because I went full time in 2018 and didn't do my first show until it would have been 2020, like I said, but it ended up being 2021 before I finally had a show and realized I was like, man, I should have done this earlier. People actually do want to buy my stuff. And just, I don't know, there goes my brain again. It just losing my train of thought. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with that again.
Well, you're a fan. You're an enthusiast. You know. You like to hang as much as the exhibitors.
I don't know what my problem is tonight, but yeah. So going to shows, but being face to face with people. Yeah. Because especially with the custom stuff, they say you buy the maker as much as you're buying the knife. Because if
absolutely
you have any questions or concerns with that knife, there is no customer support. It's you message the maker.
Yes.
And so you have to deal with that person one-on-one. And so it's like, I want to trust me. That's my first one. It's the second comment is the one that got me. It's, damn, hope you're okay. I get talking too much. It's that Mississippi brain. It's not the whiskey. But you know, I always thought it was super important to just be there, and whether I had a table or not, or whether it was I wasn't invited to this invitational, or whether it just didn't fit with my schedule and I just wouldn't be able to make stuff in time. But like Texas next year and the New Orleans show, it's one weekend after another, and I can't afford to try to. And then I have TKI. I'm finally going. I was not finally invited. I was invited this last year but couldn't make it. I'm finally getting to be in TKI because I'm making time for it in January, and going to those shows and seeing those other makers too, whereas the talking to them is how I think I've gotten to where I've gotten to with my skill, because those guys have been doing it longer. They make it. And so I don't have a table. I'm not making any money. It's costing me money, but in the long run, I feel like it makes me money because I meet customers. I can write it off as a business expense too, which is the best part. I can go to knife shows and write it off. Right. And I'm meeting potential customers, whether it's production stuff at Blade Show or custom stuff at like TKI or CCKS or whatever, just meeting, you know, guys like you that do videos and podcasts and groups and, you know, and stuff like that, and getting to see people face to face and putting names with it. And I've got to do another video chat with, I'm going blank on his name. He's over in Germany. Is it Tim?
Not sure.
Gosh, I don't know. I have to do something with him soon. And just because I think he knows Knife Force, who does all my renderings and stuff and has Yeagers and stuff. And he was able to get a Yeager from the dealer over there in Germany and absolutely loves it. And if I didn't, you know, find out about him through another maker that I met at a show, I wouldn't have gotten that, even the yes, Chris.
Yeah,
I think Chris is critical with you too.
The networking is critical, and you're right about that. People buy from the person. If you think about all the brands that are really stuck out in the last 40 years, they all have that commonality where there's a person that's like the icon of the brand, right? Chris Reeve is a great example of that. His knives are great, but the man himself is a legend, right? Ernie Emerson is a legend. You've got these legends behind the brand. And
Tim Reeve taking it over, doing the same thing. You know, you can go hang out with Tim Reeve at the show.
He's unbelievably approachable. Every year I manage to have a beer with Tim Reeve, and just in the pit, just hanging out. He's there. It'll be him and Bill Koenig hanging out. You can go talk to him and have a beer with them, and they just they want to talk to you. And
you know, and being you know, on the manufacturing side on that scale, you know, with River's Edge starting up their own shop with the Rec Band stuff, you know, it's really, really hard to do. And I've got so much respect for what they're trying to do. And they're doing it. They're getting it going. And they went to, I can't remember if they said they went to Koenig shop and Chris Reeve Knives, but I know they went to the Chris Reeve shop. And Tim was like an open book for him, he said. And it's really cool because typically with stuff like that, it's competition. People would think it's competition. Like, I'm not giving you my secrets. I'm not telling you how I do this. You can tell me all day. There's still no way I'm going to be able to do it like you.
It's love, isn't it? You can get told all you like, but if you don't do it, if you're not able to execute on it, then it doesn't get you anywhere.
People that aren't in the knife world, they just don't understand it. It's weird because I have local people, friends here that are like, when I'm going to a show, and I've had them ask me before, like, who's your biggest competition? Like, I don't have any competition. The only competition I'd say I ever had was when the Yeager was first getting its popularity going and the Axon came out. And then everybody was comparing a Yeager to an Axon. I was like, it's still not competition.
Yeah. Just
similar knives that came out at the same time that both hit that hype knife.
It's not a piece of the pie equation. You don't have competition. It's not a football game.
No. And you know, at the Rec event last year, their big 20th anniversary event, and I went, and Joseph was there. And we had met and you know, been, you know, short conversations, but just never had any long conversation with each other. We spent like that whole day together talking knives, obviously, business too. And he's learning some stuff from him. He is an incredible businessman.
Yes.
He is like, he told me a book to listen to, and it's like, you've got the engineer who wants to be a business owner. You've got like the manager who wants to be a business owner. And like the way they operate is like, I'm an engineer who wanted to be a business owner, where he's like a manager who wanted to be a business owner. And so he looks at the business side, whereas I'm just looking at the product and what I'm making side. And my biggest struggle is the business side and getting help with stuff. And like, I don't know how many employees he has now. I'm sure it's changed since I talked to him last, but he's probably got 4 or 5 at least still. And I know he had more than that last year. And so I've never really had an employee. I've been too scared to try to hire anybody to do anything because I don't think I've got the business for it. I don't think I would trust anybody in the shop enough to uphold my level that I hold myself to.
Sure.
And so it's just, but talking with him and how he thinks about stuff like that, approaches it, and just the critical thinking you have to have for businesses. And it's wild. And, but it's helped little. I mean, I may not be doing what he's doing on the scale, but it's still little things here and there. It's really, really helped me. And just like we had mentioned before we started the video, I was saying I got a guy helping me with social media stuff now.
Yeah.
And that's been huge. And I'm probably about to get somebody to help me with SEO stuff on the website because I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't know how to optimize to where if you Google Brian Brown Knives, one of the first things that pops up is my website or my YouTube. And, you know, if I've got stuff available and somebody types in Yeager M for sale, I should be the first website that pops up if they're available, and I'm not. And so
your social media guy knows a very good guy. So talk to your social media guy. He can recommend one.
No, he told me. Yeah. Okay. And so we've already talked about this stuff. And so, you know, and it's one of those things that it's like, all right, I'm paying this guy every month to help me do this. And I'm looking at it and it's kind of like, it's really not a lot of money in the long run when I just need to sell like 1 or 2 extra knives a month production wise. And if he can help reach 5 people that buy a knife, it's paying for it multiple times if I'm selling more than a couple, like I said. And so it's kind of like, you got to look at it that way. Like, yeah, you might be a little slow at the first, but once it gets going and you start selling more because he has helped you optimize the stuff and he can keep it consistent. You know, I'm not going to be paying somebody to post all my stuff for me. I'm not doing that, but it's just, you know, here's how to do the social media stuff. And so it's been a huge help, and we haven't even really been a full month into this, and it's already been a huge help, especially with my YouTube. So shout out, go follow my YouTube. Like, comment, and follow, as the kids say.
Subscribe. That's always gets me on YouTube. Subscribe.
Yes.
Click the bell.
Subscribe to my YouTube. I want to start trying to do some like what's going on in the shop, kind of like bi-weekly stuff, you know, stuff like this will be good. I don't know if this is something that we could share to where I could post it over there too. Mm-hmm. But, you know, just, you know, stuff like this, and even just the shorts, you know, Instagram, I've got 34,000 followers and I post a reel. I'm averaging 3,000 views maybe. Whereas on YouTube, I think I have 250 subscribers and I'm averaging over 500 views per. So YouTube, I didn't realize that YouTube Shorts is where it's at right now, but apparently it is.
YouTube is easy. I mean, I haven't done a ton. I've been trying to grow our YouTube since January, I guess.
Yeah.
And it doesn't explode and grow, but like when I post a reel, people actually do subscribe. Like you see it, like it gives you all the stats. Like 5 people subscribed to you because you posted this stupid 30-second clip of you playing with a knife. Now, on Instagram, it used to be that way. I used to grow 20 people a day, and now that's not the world of knives on Instagram.
I go backwards on Instagram now. I don't even gain anybody anymore. It just goes backwards. I don't know if it's bots getting deleted and people are following me and it's just leveling out or what, but
that's where
and we've all seen it. Everybody posted, everybody complaining about all of us being flagged and stuff. If you go and look at all mine, what I'm flagged for, it's not for weapons. It says marijuana and alcohol. There's no audio. There's nothing mentioning drugs or alcohol. There's clearly no drugs or alcohol in the pictures. And so it's kind of like, you're just flagging me to flag me. And I've appealed it 15 times on the same 3 posts, and it's like, what are y'all doing? You're clearly blocking us on purpose. And so YouTube, thankfully, isn't that bad. X, Twitter, nobody just cares about that anymore, and especially in our community. And so YouTube Shorts are apparently where it's at, and I'm thankfully I've got a lot of organizational skills thanks to my mother, and I've taken most of the posts, or not posts, but photos that I do for each of my knives, especially mainly the production stuff, really. But I've Google photo albums of all these pictures, and I'd already done that for years, just for whenever somebody's like, hey, I want to see this or that. I'm not trying to scroll through 5,000 photos on my phone to find one picture. And so being able to add all this stuff into folders and link this guy helping me with my social media now to those folders where he can just download wherever he wants and post it, and he's backlogging into stuff and posting what he thinks will be good on the YouTube. It's been a huge help, and I'm not having to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have the time. That's the other thing, is not having the time, like we talked about earlier with y'all and your your moderators, and not having to deal with it nonstop all day it's a huge benefit of just that weight of me not having to try to get that platform up and going while trying to maintain, because my main is my Facebook group. Just like with you guys, it's the Facebook group's where it's at. That's the easiest way to communicate with people. And
I don't think a lot of people people that follow me on Instagram talk to me. I promote the shit out of our Facebook group on Instagram, and there's still so many people that are like, well, I just don't do Facebook. Like, well, there's a lot of knife brands. Like, if you want to know anything about like Koenig, if you want to know anything about Koenig, you should probably be in their fucking Facebook group, because otherwise you're not going to know about any of the drops.
Yeah. I mean, Bill will post a story on a personal one.
Yeah, not on the Koenig group.
Right. Once every 6 months. And Bill hardly posts anything ever.
Yeah.
It's usually just the group on its own. And it's kind of like, I couldn't do that. I like being involved too much. But Bill's the kind of guy who just would rather be nose down working.
Right.
And that's just the kind of guy he is. And there's some days it's like, damn, I spent way too much time on social media today and didn't get shit done anywhere, in the shop, in the office, whatever I need to get done today. It's terrible. P Brian, it's just Brian, just not Google. Just go to Facebook and type in Brian Brown Knives.
Don't necessarily assume that that'll get you there. There could be a clone group. There's actually another paramilitary 2 para 3 club.
I don't think I have one, but I'm
looking right now. It is called.
Well, there could be Craig Brown's probably got a group too.
Well, so it's funny you say that. Is one of the questions to join the Facebook group is what's your favorite model of mine? And I get like Cortex and like all his other models. If they actually are in other knife groups and they answer the questions, but they put like Craig Brown model, I accept it anyway. And very rarely, but it still happens, people won't pay attention. They'll post like a Cortex like in the group, and then that's it.
It's just called Brian Brown Knives. Patrick, I sent you a link.
Yeah, if you can't find it, which I've noticed sometimes people have a hard time finding it, it won't pull up until like you get all the way to the damn S on the end of knives. Like you've got to type out the entire thing sometimes. But worst case scenario is just message me and I'll just send you a link to it. It's not a big deal.
It's crazy how useful having like the Facebook platform. Like I love Instagram. I run 2 large Instagram accounts. It's fun. I get to have all my stuff there. Mm-hmm. It's not the same as a Facebook group. The interaction, just the community, Facebook groups. If I pray they never go away the way they are now. But
Yep. I'm with you.
without the Facebook group, I don't know what I would do with my life, honestly. I mean, I don't have a job. My job is to watch my kids and to fuck around on social media all day. And having this outlet has been monumentally important in my life. I know how many years I've been sober by how long the group's been in existence, because like when I first got sober, the group was like where I put all of my energy into like focusing on something. And so it's like, I know, in a month from now, I'll have 6 years sobriety because this group's anniversary is 6 years today. And
well, congrats on 6 years.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been the thing that's changed my life more than anything else is having this Facebook group. It
goes back to what we were talking about earlier too of actually, I think this was before we had gone live, but we were just talking about kind of that a little bit too, is, we don't own any of this, and it gets shut down and it's just gone without our control, and we don't have any say so in it. And so all the stuff going on with Instagram, we can bitch and moan all we want, and they're not going to change it. They think knives are deadly, scary weapons, and they don't want to change their mind about it. And we're not going to do anything. And I think Knife Nuts guys tried to start a petition on change.org to get this stuff fixed. It's not going to do anything. I signed it. Hey, if it helps, it helps. If not, or if it helps, awesome. But it's probably not going to do a damn thing. And so, I don't, the only thing we own is our email lists. And so that's another thing that I try not to use that a lot, because I know how annoying emails are to people, and seeing just the same crap over and over again on email blasts. But in the end, when all this goes away, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, I've got 6,000-7,000 people on an email list now, which is amazing. And I can, still be able to at least contact people that way if I have to. So, yeah, we just have to adapt. But yeah, Facebook is where it's at. And my Facebook group helped me grow a lot. And I noticed that too after, I don't think my Facebook group really had done much quite whenever we had first done this back in, what was that? Was that 2020 when we did that? I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was before Blade Show 21. So sometime before Blade Show 21. So probably 2020 winter.
2020,
something like that. Because it was at the old house. I was still in the garage. I remember sitting in the garage with my laptop and doing it. But I don't think my Facebook group really is what it was, or was really. It was still mainly Instagram for me, and not. I had the Facebook group, but it still wasn't much activity over there. And seeing what you guys have done with your group, and the amount of posts and conversations, and noticing that you can't really interact with people on Instagram.
Instagram engagement is so superficial. Like a post on Instagram will get hundreds of likes, but that's just people scrolling and clicking, like double clicking a picture and scrolling on. Facebook posts, people open it up, read the comments, interact, and it's like it's real.
The Instagram notifications are spurious. They just don't work that good. Even if somebody comments on your comment, you're not guaranteed to get a notification that they did. So it's very difficult to have a conversation there.
Well, and Facebook's not any better sometimes. I'll get a notification saying it's posted 1 minute ago, and you click on it, it was 3 hours ago. But, it's one of those things that you can actually have notifications turned on for groups when people post it, and then you can do it to where it's just when your friends post.
I find it to be better. It's better than Instagram.
It's 100%.
I'll go weeks at a time without checking my notifications on Instagram, and I'll open it. There'll be 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have more than 3.
Yeah.
Well, as a reminder, before we wrap this up, today, if you're watching this, is the 6th anniversary of the Facebook group. We are holding, if you haven't already entered it, an amazing giveaway. The top prize on the list, first one, because it goes in alphabetical order, is a Brian Brown. Is it XO1, right?
X1.
X1.
That's it
knife,
right there.
That knife and many, many other awesome prizes will be drawn on Tuesday night here on this channel. We will do the drawing live, but please go enter the giveaway. There's been a flood of very generous makers, dealers, and I'm getting messages from just random group members who want to donate awesome stuff as well all day long. So I've been adding to the list. So please go enter it. It's a Google form. It's got some very helpful questions for us. It's not hard to answer, but like, how many knives do you own? It's really useful for us just to know stuff like how many knives does the average group member own. So fill it out. We'll do the drawing. Good luck. And thank you to everyone who's donated, because it's my favorite thing I get to coordinate every year. If I was as good at doing a real job as I am about getting this thing set up, I'd be doing well in life, but this is what I focus all my energy on, and I'm really proud of what we've put together this year. So enter it.
That's awesome.
Tom, I'm scrolling through the answers. Our favorite part, Brian, is seeing how many people answer 69 as the guess a number. We usually have to throw out like 100 people for 69.
Someone messaged me today. They guessed 69, 69, 69, and they didn't realize that was over 100,000. Yeah. So they asked me to change their answer for them. And I'm like, only because you answered 69, 69, 69 will I go in there and change it. That's fair enough.
We have 766 people that have entered to win already, Brian.
Wow.
So.
That's amazing.
Yep.
There's whenever I did the first Yeagers, the first batch, they were all numbered. And so the first 100 were pre-ordered, and it was a pain in the ass to set it up on the website, but I did single product per number. So you could scroll through and see what number was available and be able to buy it. And I vowed to never do that again after I did. It's such a pain in the ass, but thankfully it worked out. But all that being is, I think this second one sold was number 69, of course. And then whenever I do my squadron coins, which are kind of like my, special thing in the group that you can't buy it, you have to be gifted it.
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody recommends you to me, or whether it's I do, giveaways or, whatever. You find me at a show, I usually bring them and hand them out. They're free, but they're all numbered. And so when I first got them in, started giving them away, the first giveaway I did, I let people pick the number. And of course, 69 was the first one to go. Besides, because I ended up, of course, I kept the first 10 to give to, admin, close friends, and in the knife community, good customers, stuff like that. So
Wellington.
Yeah, Wells, my wife didn't get one until a year after I'd started it. It's like, you didn't show any interest. And so I think Jason and Tom need to get one. I don't think Jason and Tom have them yet.
I have all 4 years of our coin, number 69.
That's hilarious. You're just making everybody jealous.
Everyone always asks for it every year. 169. I'm like, that is
sorry, that's mine.
Spoken for.
The perks of being the creator. That's I usually try to keep number 1 or number 5 of stuff.
Jason has all the number 1s. I have 69 and number 2, and
Brian, I get scolded from time to time by salty, shitty bitches that go, "Hey, how come you get number 1s and Tom gets 69? That's not fair." It's like, go start a club. Go build a group.
Create your own product and then number it.
And the only thing that you do for yourself is you save the 1s for yourself. Go do that. And by the way, when those companies ship you the coins, they don't do you the favor of sorting them. They just take 1,000 coins and they put them in a giant box. So you have to go find it. So if you think that it's like handed to you wrong, at no point is it easy. Imagine searching 1,000 coins for the ones you want. It's not.
I had to do that with 100 because I just did 100 of the squadron coins at a time, and I did 1 through 100, and just sorting through those, I was like, this is miserable.
At this desk I'm sitting at right now, I had to sort 1,000 coins in sequence. It took me 10 hours.
I believe it.
It was 10 hours. I basically watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy in a row while I sorted coins.
You are a nerd.
It was ridiculous. Like that's how long. So
that's amazing though. But I mean, yeah, you're right. And thankfully I don't get too much of that in my group.
I'm a nerd. What should I watch Smoking the Bandit over and over?
Hey, but my wife and I were talking about that. I got shit for that in my old job for not watching that movie until I was like in my 20s. Because all these guys that were these salesmen at this motorcycle shop would quote it. And it was absolutely hilarious because they would be like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyway, but yeah, it's just one of those things that when you are able to create something like that and you keep what you want. I mean, I keep the first of everything, obviously. And then, it's just, it's fun to tease it and to get other people a little bit jealous. I mean, that's part of marketing. I mean, and I've been.
We thought about it, Rod. We actually discussed it. Every year we discuss it.
just do like 169. But, then at that point, it's not special anymore. It's you got to think about that too. But Jaeger Bar number 2. Okay, so since I knew Chris would probably bring it up again. So the next thing with the Jaegers, hopefully a lot of people have seen it in the group or seen it on Instagram. But my newest product, I guess you could say, that I'm making is the backwards always gets me. It's calling it the Jagger Bar. So it's obviously a pry bar. There you go. Oh, it wanted to. The profile is obviously based off the Jaeger. And these are all being done in-house. I didn't realize the amount of people that still love pry bars. I've always liked pry bars. I have a Lynch wallet that was made for AAP V2 or something like that. That's the Redeemed Creations wallet. Well, last year I ended up doing a collab with Guthing Knives, and he does the shim pry bars. And I don't think it's over here anymore. I think I took it inside, but I had one of his shim pry bars that I swapped the Lynch out and put that one in there because it's my newest pry bar. I don't go buying tons of these things, but I just always have had one on me for a long time for just random shit. Usually it's using it as like a little flathead screwdriver. And I've done pry bars over the years and just never really made anything pry bar design wise that I just really like. They're all just basic. And so a lot of people in here may have known when I was doing the bit drivers. My buddy Brandon was the one who kind of taught me how to run a lathe. And so he ended up working with me for a while, making those bit drivers for me. Well, he worked in a machine shop, took a break, back at the machine shop now. And so he messaged me the other day because my whole idea with the machine too, starting out, was like, I need something eventually that is almost, completely machined. There's, not a lot of handwork with, to where when there's, knife downtime, because I'm not using this thing nonstop for knives. It's still one at a time. I'm not doing these big batches. And so it's like, I kind of need something easy for in between. And so he messaged me like a month ago and was like, hey, you come up with something yet? No. He's like, well, get your ass on it, thinking about it. And it was a Saturday, and got up, and I went to church, and I help out on our security team at church. And so I'm usually at one entrance, just kind of by myself, almost like a greeter almost. And I'm just standing there. I'm just thinking about it. And I'm like, I had the squadron coin into my pocket, and I was looking at it. I was like, you know what? why have I not thought about this? It just clicked. I was like, I can turn that into a pry bar easily. It's a good shape. The tip, it might be a tad pokey side, but it's really not that bad. I've been carrying it in my pocket the last 2 days with no sheath or anything on it, and it's really not bad. And I was just one of those things. It's just like the Yeager design we were talking about earlier, just being so basic, but yet I keep getting all this shit out of it. And it's like amazing how many people want these pry bars now. And so I've got a handful over here that I've done already, and I always make changes. Everybody prototypes and has to make changes, and I really think this is the first thing I've done that I'm really not going to make a change on. I'm going to send them out to people, see what they think. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But I mean, I'm loving it. I want to try to do one with a pocket clip.
Yeah.
But my opinion on that, and I'll see what you guys think about it. Where'd the other one go? Oh, it's over there. Here's my opinion on why I wouldn't do a pocket clip, because of how big it is compared to the pry bar, because it's not a huge one. And so you put a pocket clip on there, you end up defeating the purpose of using it as a pry bar or like a scraper or something, because when it's poked out, it's in the way. You can't really use it. And so it's like, honestly, I don't know if I'll ever do it. Maybe it's one of those things, you know, get some sheaths made that's got a little pocket clip on it if you want. But no, so this is my other.
I've run my Lynch pry with.
People look out for things.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, sorry. This is just my other, you know.
I think it's cool, Brian.
Thing to shout out for myself is keep an eye out for these. I'll start doing these mainly though in the Facebook group. I might throw them on the website randomly here and there and let people know on the email list, but mainly in the Facebook group. I'm still trying to direct most people to the Facebook group for stuff like this. It's just easier to do stuff over there. Yeah. And then people don't get all butthurt when you do a lottery and they don't win versus when you put it on the website. They're like, oh, the bots got it. But
people think that everyone is everyone is like an expert at programming bots. Everyone,
right?
Like $1 million. And everyone thinks that the makers like just sell to whatever.
We pre-sell it. Yeah, we pre-sell it, and then we just do we list on the website as sold from the beginning.
Yeah,
just because. That's probably for you guys.
It is, yeah. So this 2024 coin, me and Jason were just talking about this today and yesterday. It's coming. It'll be here before the end of the year, hopefully. But we have an idea. That's the hardest part always, is coming up with what it's going to be. And I think the Millie Club will be very happy to see what is coming from the design aspect of the Millie Club.
Do y'all design them yourselves?
I have a coin company that I can draw what I want, and then I send it to them, and then they render it, and they improve it, and then they send me back a proof. And if it's good to go, then we run with it. And they're able to take my pencil drawings and turn them into magic. So
that's good.
Really cool collaboration. The shop where they do all the design is in Florida. So they must just have a room full of people that understand pop culture. And their specialty is armed services. So, you know, fighter wing will have a coin for their flight group, and then, you know, some platoon will do a coin for their group, you know. So they specialize in police, fire, and first responder and armed forces. So this isn't all that different, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
When we did the Tiger coin in 23, I asked them for a Japanese style tattoo tiger from hell. And that's what they put on the back of the coin. And then we did it in a 3D relief, and it looks awesome. It turned out
like ChatGPT for coins.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
I didn't overbake it. I just said, give me a tiger from hell, Japanese style. And they
number
nailed
69,
it.
Of course.
Of course.
That's one thing I've not done a lot of is coins like that. I've just never been able to think of a design or come up with anything that I thought people would want. Honestly, it's just, and so whenever I did the Squadron coins, for people that don't know what it is, actually, it's rare. I don't have mine in my pocket right now. It's the profile of the Yeager. It's like a teeny tiny, like that big Yeager with the cutout in the window and everything as a coin, because I didn't want just a regular coin. A couple guys do poker chips for their like group, coin or groups, special item that gets you extra lottery ends and stuff that. And so I was like, I wanted to do a coin of something. I need to do something like that. I couldn't. And so I'm sure everybody in here knows Brody over at Breakfast Club. I was talking to Brody just because he has such random ideas with stuff, and just I love how his brain is so creative with stuff like that. And I was like, hey, I'm wanting to do a coin. I don't really know what to do, but where do you get them done? So when I figure it out, I need somebody to make these things for me. And so he just was like, why don't you just make it look like your knife? I'm like, that's perfect. Can they do it, but tiny? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, and I have like simple drawings that I did stickers on years ago that I sent out the sticker that matched the knife you bought. And that was a pain in the ass, by the way, to do all those renderings. And anyway, but we were talking about it. I was like, well, I'll just send you this and then tell me what you think. He's like, oh, that's perfect. And he just sends it to them. They send it back. And it's kind of the same thing with Jason. What he was saying is he just sends it to the company he uses. I think he said they're in Texas, but kind of the same thing. He just sent me back a rendering of what it would look like. And I was like, the only thing that I want to do on there is number it somewhere, preferably on the spine, so it's not on the face, because I don't want to ruin the look of the knife. And it was like, well, that was one of those ideas I never would have thought of doing on my own. So I did see a comment on there, Marshall Massey, is the back of your shop finished yet? And yes, it is. And thank you for doing the electrical. He was the electrician, one of the electricians. He actually works the same company my wife does. She's the payroll manager for it. And him and, was it Christopher? I think it was the other guy. He's going to get mad at me because he's in my group now too. But shout out to Marshall. He had finished, and the last day they were here was like a day or two after the V3 Van X Yeagers got delivered. And I was walking the dog around. They came one morning to finish up real quick, and I was on the back side of the circle in the neighborhood. And he's like, hey, can I buy a Yeager? I was like, I'm on the way. So he ended up buying a Yeager from me, which is really cool. That's awesome. Helped me get some money back for what they charged me. But yeah, people that don't know, I just added on like 240 square feet on the back of the shop, new air compressor setup and equipment room and storage room, and trying to clean up just clutter that's already building up in the shop, And so the big phase converter I had to buy, it's not really big, but it's just annoying. It sizzles and makes noise for the Haas. And the air compressor setup, I really almost had nowhere to put it except in the way somewhere. And I just did not want to do that. So it just came down to having to do this addition. Thankfully, it's done. The installation got done like 2 weeks ago. I got most of everything hooked up and moved in, all the plumbing done on the AC, air compressors, and the air dryer and the air tank. And it's a pretty cool setup that I've been looking at for a long time, and got it going now, and it's amazing to have.
I don't think people appreciate how expensive that equipment can be. You can spend $30,000-$40,000 on a really good screw compressor with an air dryer. By the way, guys, you can't compress wet air. If you compress wet air, you end up with rusty compressor. So you have to dry the air before it goes in the compressor. You may not know that. And then you've got a big container that has to hold it all, and that has to be certified and checked from time to time so it doesn't blow up. It's
this is actually, it's the way this one's set up. You've got separators before the storage tank.
Yeah.
And then from the storage tank, the last part is the dryer. And so making sure when it comes out, because you can get, if the dryer is before, you can still get moisture that builds up from humidity changes. And that's my big problem here is the humidity and temperature differences. Like it was 40 degrees, 41 degrees, I think Thursday morning. And then afternoon, the heat index was like 82.
Right.
And we average, 50% humidity. I mean, my house averages, I've got a 3D printer up there and I've got a bunch of the little hydrometer things with the temperature and the humidity level on it for my filament. And it averages, ones that are sitting at, my house averages 50% humidity in the summer. And that's with the air at 70 degrees. And
Right.
It's just incredibly humid here. And so my blast cabinets with my old air compressor, my air compressor that I was using was from 1986. I found it for $400. It's like a 60, 70, 80 gallon. I really don't know. I think it's a 60, 65 gallon, but it just wasn't cutting it. And my blast cabinets were turning into vapor hones, which a vapor hone is the same thing as sandblasting, but water mixed in.
Right.
And dry blast with water does not mix well. And I had rust spots building up from where I blasted through the paint in them from using them so much from the water and the moisture in them. And that's horrible for this machine too, if it starts getting it, because then all the lines and stuff inside the machine and all that can rust from when it's running the air for the spindle. Like you don't want rust building up inside of that and water getting inside of that. So I just had to, it's nice having it, but I didn't want to spend as much money as I did on it, but it's one of those things.
Yep. I know sometimes I have conversations with guys they'll say stuff like, hey man, for 18 grand, I can get this Tormach and I can be a knife maker. And it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. There's so much.
I wish it was 18 grand.
It's so much more than just the CNC, guys. You can't just buy a CNC and make and call yourself a knife maker.
My neighbor owns a plumbing company, and he built one of those like tough sheds out there. It's like 20 by something, 25 by 20 or something like that. It's an okay size, but he's got his office in there and some storage and stuff in there. And he basically just uses it as like a drafting desk and stuff just to get his stuff out of the house. And so, and when I moved here, I built this, and then he had built that afterwards. And people kind of joked around saying he was trying to copy me, but it's like, well, he doesn't need it. Well, anyway, he comes in the shop, and I was doing this edition, and he had been in here before, but I didn't have the machine and some of the other stuff that I've acquired in the last like 6-8 months to a year or whatever. And I was like, hey, check this out. And he walks in the shop, and we're talking, and he just stops. He just looks. He goes, you have so much stuff in here, like equipment.
Yeah.
And it really got me thinking. I was looking at it. I was like, every knife I make, something touches from that knife, touches every single machine I have. I've got 3 different grinders. 1 horizontal, 2 vertical grinders, surface grinder, 2 different blast cabinets, the Haas, a lathe, a manual mill, the heat treat oven, all that stuff. And I was like, that's a lot of stuff. I'm like, yeah, and every single piece in here pretty much helps with something on every single knife. And then, you just really stop and think about how much money I've put into this to be able to get to where I'm at over the years. It's like, dang, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
Like I always wanted a shop before even the knife stuff. I wanted my own shop. I always liked to tinker with stuff, whether it was car audio or RC cars or woodworking stuff with my dad, which is a lot of people know that's kind of what got my working with my hands stuff was him doing that in his free time. And it's like, I never thought in my wildest dreams, even 8 years or 6 years ago, when I went full time, would I have a shop with the square footage that is more than my first house. And it's full. and it's stuff in here, and I use it every day. It's just so humbling to think about. And it's like, never thought it would turn into what it's turned into. It's amazing.
Congratulations on all your success, Brian. It's been amazing watching you go. I'm so impressed with your business ethic and your drive and your passion for this. And I love seeing you at all the shows. And I know you love knives as much as you love making them. And you're just you've become such a big part of the community. And I didn't know it was your 6-year anniversary till now. So it's funny how your journey into this is as long as our club. So
yeah, pretty much is May of 2018.
It's like we're related.
Yeah. We're all white. We're all related, right? We all look the same.
I wasn't going there, but sure.
Got to get some weird stuff in there since Kit's not here. But sorry, we were being serious, I know. But yeah, it's like I said, it's so humbling, and I mean, just even like doing this with you guys, like just hanging out and talking, and I was able to sell a knife because y'all asked me to be on here, and I have a new customer because of this. And I mean, 2 hours of talking and gaining a customer or 10, I think it's well worth it. And I love doing stuff like this. If you can't tell, I like to talk, and I just like talking to people who like knives and like the stuff to nerd out as much as I do, and I do this all the time with guys that come by the shop. And if anybody in here is ever around Central Mississippi, if you go off I-20, straight through Louisiana to Jackson through I-20, message me and stop by. I'm 15 minutes from I-20. And I've had people do it. I've said this before, and I had a random guy do it. Never talked to him on social media. He had followed me for years, apparently. Messaged me. I was like, hey, I've been following you. I love your stuff. I know you said your shop's close, and I'd love to stop by. Come on. And he did. He stopped by with his son. They were on a road trip somewhere and just stopped by. Checked out the shop.
That's awesome.
And I love it. I love being able to share it with people.
Yeah. Fellas, I need to go. It's been awesome having this conversation, Brian. I'm glad we could do it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. Yeah, I love it.
Great to see you.
Sorry again for canceling last week, but I think we just played it up even more, right?
Yeah, I got Jason back in the groove. We did a solo episode. We needed to do one of those. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So it was okay.
Yeah, we had to practice a little bit.
Yeah.
We should make this at least a yearly thing. I like doing it with you guys.
Anytime you have anything to talk about, please let us know. Just DM us and let us know, and we'll have you on. Tom and I we prefer having guests to doing it solo. So you're welcome every week.
Sure.
And you're one of the people that's not afraid of cameras, because that's my biggest struggle with getting guests on here. Is you're like, do I have to be on camera? Yeah. You got to be on camera. It's okay.
You have to talk, use words. You have to comb my hair. You don't have to comb your hair, but you got to be on camera.
Yeah.
So, I'm out.
You'll forget people are watching after a couple of minutes, though. So it's okay.
I attribute my willingness to being in retail for so many years.
Yeah.
I just treat this like it's, I'm talking to customers, which kind of in the end, it's really why, we do this, is to talk to people like this. And so I love it. I appreciate y'all having me on. And if I've thought about doing this too on my YouTube with trying to get, other random makers on together, or, guys like you. I think it'd be a lot of fun. It's hard to be consistent with it, as you've got to be able to set time aside. And I told my wife tonight, I was like, this might take, I was like, I don't know if it's going to be 2.5 hours like last time we did it. I said, it'll probably be an hour and a half or so. And look,
here we are.
We blink at 2 hours and 18 minutes already. So
Brian, I would love to hear a show with you and Joseph Vero talking about the industry. I think that would be a very interesting show.
Yeah, and I think that's a good idea too.
He's a little too handsome for my taste, but
he makes all of us look like just cavemen.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Other than that, I
need a tighter shirt.
Right.
Is next thing, I didn't wear
He's good.
I need to wear my Tudor. I need to wear my Tudor.
Oh yeah, we could all match.
Yeah, I'll wear a black shirt, slick my hair off to the side a little bit, wear my Tudor.
It's too much smolder.
Yeah, too much. But yeah, I was always a little, I know we were trying to end this, but Joseph, it's just funny talking about him. I was always a little kind of, nervous to talk to him.
Yes.
Just because of he doesn't give off that asshole kind of vibe to where he doesn't want to talk to you, but it's just, or even like, I'm too good for you. It's just kind of like, this guy knows his shit. And it's like, he just seems like a no nonsense business kind of guy. And he's really not. He is, but like, he'll sit down and have a conversation with you and shoot the shit with you too. And so,
you know what else is funny? He's also the kind of guy that once you're in his circle, like if you act like you're not in the circle, he gets upset about it. Like, let me think of the example. There was a time where I had a knife of his and I needed something for it. And I asked in the group publicly if I could get the thing. And he DM'd me and he was like, "Are we friends?" And I said, "Yeah, Joseph, we're friends." He's like, "Then why aren't you asking me for the thing?"
Yeah.
He goes, "I will do that for you. Did you know that?" And I was like, "You're busy. I didn't want to bother you." And he's like, "Shut up. We're friends. Like, friends help each other. So let me say it."
I've got guys like that too, and exactly, Chris has been in here the whole time, so I'll just use Chris Davis as an example. Like, I've had dinner with Chris at a show, and like, if Chris went in the Facebook group and said like, "Hey, does somebody know where I can get a clip for something like whatever?" It's a stupid example, but it'd be like, "Chris, why didn't you ask me?" And he does. He feels attacked right now. But I have people like that too. I mean, we all have our close circle of friends, but it's that's the best thing about this community. And like Tom talking about sober and sobriety, and there's a guy who sent me a knife, who has been dealing with just stuff personally and depression, and I think he had to have some surgeries that put him out of work, and he had to sell all his knives, and he had a Raptor, and it was the Raptor was like his favorite in his collection, and ended up having to sell it. And his wife goes and finds him another one. They found it, I think, secondhand where they could afford it. And he sent it to me because he accidentally dropped it and chipped the edge on it. And I was like, I don't typically sharpen stuff, but I was like, after all of that, he told me, I was like, dude, just send it to me. It'll take me 5 minutes to sharpen it. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah.
Well, now he can't find it. The mail, it's not been delivered. He can't find his tracking number. Unfortunately, we're trying to track it down. And it's just kind of like, I was like, I don't even know this guy, but it's kind of to the point of like, man, I wish I could find one that he had. Then if I had one, I'd just give it to him.
Yeah.
Just because it's, just the community, and just be like, I don't carry this thing that much. I'd rather you have it because you're actually going to care for it and, put it in your pocket and use it, kind of thing. So
I've kind of done that for people too, where I'll have something that doesn't mean anything to me, and I'll know it means the world for a guy in the group, and I'll just be like, you know what, you should have this.
Yeah. And so, but then, this proves my point right here, what Chris just said. DM me, I have an extra one, probably meaning a Raptor that this guy can have if his got lost. And, that's why this community is the best. I don't know any other community that I've ever really been in that people are like this, and so I love it.
Chris, I'm looking for you right now to share an invite, and I'm having a hard time finding your account. That's weird.
I can send him an invite to the group too, if he can't find it.
What if he's Christopher?
No, his is just Chris Davis.
You'd think as one of the largest companies on the planet, Facebook could figure out their search, but they suck.
It hasn't been that long. It's a picture. It's him in a selfie in a car. That's his.
Oh, is it? Okay, maybe it didn't look like it.
He's got glasses, and I think a mohawk. He got
That's
that mohawk. Sorry, Chris. I'm blasting you.
He looks like a kind of a cross between like Denzel Washington and Brad Pitt.
Denzel and Brad Pitt?
Just joking.
I was going to say he looks more like Fred Durst. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
It's not. Chris, I sent you a link.
But yeah, it's fun. I love doing this with you guys. I like talking about all this stuff.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast.
So
I want to pick your brain next time about blade steels and knife steels, and it's a topic we didn't even get to tonight. It would be probably another hour and a half. So I'd love to get your opinion on it. I have a feeling you've probably gone up the mountain and back down the other side, and you're at a point where you don't care. Steel, but
yes and no. But yeah. I know what I like now, and it's long story short, without getting into it, the OG stuff that's been around for a long time is what a lot of us end up going back to.
Yeah.
Like I got more at the house that came in today, but that strips right there. It's all mostly what I'm using now for just mono steel. It's all CPM 154.
Yeah.
Before that, it was XHP.
Every knife maker I know, they want to use AEBL 154, RLW 34. Just the simple old school stuff. That's what they want to use.
ABL can kiss my ass, but
yeah. Brian, I talked about this with Pat Doyle once. I know you know Doyle, and he started getting all crotchety. He's good at that, and he was like, "Yeah, none of you bastards even use your knives." He's like, I've been making knives for 20 years, and not one of you's ever sent one back for me to fix. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. You don't even know how to sharpen them." He goes, "What do you think blade steel is?"
Exactly.
I actually have one right here that's MagnaCut, and he did a hand rub MagnaCut blade, and he's like, "I'm never using that bullshit again. I hate that."
He cussed you, and the whole time he was hand sanding that thing. I bet.
Oh yeah, he was furious the whole time. He's like, "I'm never working with that shit again." And it was really funny.
I've got some, and all I will use it for is machine belt satins. I will not hand sand it.
I don't understand the chemistry of it and why it is, but I know enough people that I respect have told me that it's almost impossible to hand rub it.
It's just very abrasive resistant.
Yeah.
And the grit on the paper just does not cut into it. And I am not one of these knife nerds that dives off into the structure of it and why and what the additive in there of why it is, like the Palladium or something. That's like why some of your higher S90Vs and stuff like that don't hand sand for shit either. But for a custom maker, the variety of stuff that's out there, if you want something that looks good with a belt satin, has good edge retention, all around stuff, you can hand sand it easily. That's why we all go back to 154, ABL, Nitro V, CPM, or not XHP, when it was available. But we can say that for next time. Go deeper into it.
All right.
Get a little bit more nerdy.
Speaking of guys, there are a few Vanex Yeager version 3s, variant 3, version 3.
V3.
Yep, there's some Yeagers and Vanex still available. Now Vanex steel, if you don't know, it's pretty much salt proof. You can more or less take it to the beach. You can use it in the water and then not wash it, and the blade won't rust. And it's very easy to sharpen. It's very easy to strop back straight. So it's a nice steel to live with if you don't mind sharpening your knives. And you don't need diamonds. You can use a sharp maker. You can use whetstone. It'll sharpen pretty easy. It's not a high hardness steel. So it's a fantastic choice for a pocket knife.
Yep. It's the first time I've done anything outside of like M390 or CPM 20. So it was something different for me.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. And people love it.
It's a cool steel just because it's exotic and there's not many makers that use it. But it's good
Especially
steel.
custom.
Yeah.
So, which I haven't done either.
Well, everybody, we all have some adult stuff to go do tonight, so I think we should probably put a pin in it. Brian, thank you for being here again.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. It's always good chatting with you fellas.
Likewise.
Absolutely.
Don't be a stranger.
All right, guys. Take care.
Good night, everybody.